So the story of this campus is a remarkable one. In the Reformed tradition, we emphasize God's role in the events of history. And sometimes those events and God's role in them is kind of very clear to see. It's almost like the veil is drawn just a little thin. This is one of those cases because that's what happened here. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. I was talking with a local pastor, Dr. Paul Jean, who also teaches on our campus.
Okay, so I'm actually writing a little book on this because it is outrageous. Years ago, Dr. Wright and I, we are still PhD students at Catholic University. And we had a joke then, which we would joke about years later. And it was basically, wouldn't it be amazing if a church and a seminary basically combined forces, formed a partnership to do gospel work?
And if you think about it, the times that we would be using the building, our missions are very, very complementary, right? We, by definition, aren't going to be using it on Sunday morning, and we don't need to use it on Wednesday night. But if we could build something that serves both organizations, the work of the local church, but also the work of the seminary and training up church leaders, I said, that's really what I need. Just someone who's got a similar vision like that.
And one day I walked into Dr. Red's office and said, "Do you want to give this a shot?" And he said, "Why not?"
And I think it was within a few months that Dr. Jean and I had located this property. And we realized this is going to cost a lot more than we've spent on property in the past. And yet we both really believed that this was the right place. It seemed to really just hit all of the needs and the desires of our mutual communities. The Lord brought the right people into the conversation, and through multiple planners, people, architects, bankers who are connected to the seminary who just said, "Hey, I'd like to help you all think about how to pull something like this off." And then really, a strategic couple who were donors to the seminary, they stepped up and they said, "Let's find a way to make this happen."
God has, over the years, sent incredible financial partners to help us pay off it was over a $10 million acquisition in less than 4 years. That was not possible without God's just kindness to us.
And it's a remarkable relationship that we developed. RTS was involved in helping the church purchase the property. And in response to that, as the church paid down its mortgage, RTS would then fundamentally stop paying rent. We'd still pay sort of utilities and maintenance for the building, but we wouldn't have to pay rent anymore in this space. And as you can imagine, as an organization operating in Northern Virginia, to be able to operate rent-free is an incredible blessing.
We really think this was a God thing where we worked hard, but no amount of labor would have allowed us to not just acquire this facility, but pay it off and ensure that the church and the campus, we have a permanent place for the foreseeable future.
So as we look at the years ahead, we're seeing our student body grow. We've now got a home, a forever home. We've got a space that we can stay in, we can put down roots in.
We think that this is just the beginning.
As the building develops, the downstairs space, the first floor, is going to become the main sanctuary for New City Church. And so that large space is also going to be available to us for convocations, for chapel services, as well as for large classrooms.
Our vision is to create not even a sanctuary, but a common area that can be used as a sanctuary on Sundays, but also throughout the week can be used for concerts, large get-togethers, large lecture rooms.
One of the things we really want to do is become a hub of Christian ministry and service.
Now we have a vision for creating community center.
It's not just a church and it's not just a seminary.
We had a vision for having counseling clinics, and it just so happens a counseling group has started on the 2nd floor.
We can offer space for churches to meet. We had local presbyteries have their meetings here. College ministries in the DC area have done some of their staff retreats in our building here. We have a women's Bible study that meets here every Tuesday morning that's taught by RTS faculty, and it has about 70 members in it.
So this building is really meant to be a hybrid of good works.
As we're building out this space, we do have an eye for the building next door because there's a twin building that looks just like ours right next to it. And the thinking is, okay, as RTS grows and as New City Church grows, how do we fill out that space next door? And is that something we need to be thinking about?
The hope is that somehow, we're not sure how yet, we would be able to get that sister building and maybe create a theological research center, expanded library, more space so that we can develop a stronger community. And this is not ultimately about buildings. It's really about raising up like future leaders. But you need tools, you need resources to do that well.
There's a lot of room to grow, and we're trying to think, how do we continue to serve this exciting, growing community here at RTS Washington?